we have a tendency to overload our lives. When you start stacking things 5 deep, and they were all a choice, the correlation between that and damage to your personal self, damage to your finances, damage to your career, damage to your relationships is really, really high. And it's kind of a Superman syndrome. My wife, she'll say, you don't need to do that. That's Jesus' job. Stop being the Messiah. You can't do everything. You can't be everywhere. You can't do all this. You're stacking this too thick. That's Jesus' job. Only he can do that. You're taking responsibility for things you can't fix. You're taking responsibility for too many things you can fix, and it's getting too thick, and the camel's back is going to pop with one more straw. There seems to be a busyness, an efficiency. Maybe it's the iPhone culture.
Well, we have a cultural pathology, if you will, like a psychological issue, which is you solve things by adding to. You solve things by getting another planner, going to get more candles, having a warm bath, yoga, and we never think that I can solve things by taking things away, by stopping things. That's number one. Number two, we have a cultural addiction to busyness. That is our bread and butter. If you are addicted to busyness, and it's the same chemicals, addicted to busyness, we'll give you $1 million, we'll give you a doctorate degree, we will applaud you. We're running from the same stuff. We're trying to prove that we're worth something by achieving. We're trying to prove something by how much we can get done and show. And man, Dave, whenever I find myself stacking things on top, usually I've got a friend or two that will call me and say, I don't know what you're running from, brother, but you got to stop and take inventory. Well,
that was kind of we were the friend for that last guy. Said there's too much stacked here.
Hey, what are you doing? And he's trying to solve this problem by doing this, and then trying to solve that one by doing that. And suddenly, he's a couple $100,000 in the hole, making zero money, living in his parents' house, and indefinitely, right? And the math doesn't add up. The psychological and spiritual math and the calculator math, none of it adds up. And you just got to sometimes start from ground zero.
But some of it does come from even a generation before mine, and I'm old.
Yeah.
It just took longer to solve problems.
Which provided for space and wisdom.
And margin.
Right.
But now, if you want anything, you pick up this little square thing with a glass on the front, and you tap it 3 times, and stuff shows up at your door.
Right.
Like freaking Santa Claus is alive 24/7.
That's exactly right.
Donner and Blitzen work all the time.
All the time. We name him Jeff and Bezos, right?
Yeah. And it's just, and now it's not good enough that it comes in 2 days. It has to come same day.
Right.
And our efficiency, our productivity has gone through the roof, and our peace has not increased.
In fact, it's decreased, right?
You would think that if you got better at stuff, it was easier to do things, that you could chill a little bit and your peace would increase. And if you don't leave that emotional margin, your adrenal glands get burned and fried, and other stuff starts to fall apart, and you really can't function.
That's when you get into the diseases of despair, right? The organ disease failures and the suicides and the addictions. We've got more than we've ever had, and we are living shorter, harder lives because we just stay constantly revved. We put our foot on that gas, Dave, and we never take it off. And sometimes this young man that we just talked to, he may find himself in the exact same position. But when I feel like I'm on a house of cards and it's teetering off, it's best to stop, get somebody I trust, in this case his fiance, go sit somewhere and just start from the floor up and say, what do we have to do? This is that second or third call today we've had where people feel trapped in this either-or decision.
And neither decision was good.
No, and neither decision is an either-or, right?
Yeah.
And we just shove ourselves into these boxes.
These are not multiple choice.
No.
It's just not... It's not filling out a registration for a new app.
No, man.
Yeah. In other words, if you're making decisions, number one, you need to leave yourself some margin, some wiggle room, emotionally, spiritually, financially, relationally, or you're going to negatively impact the other things enough that it offsets any positive you did with the decision.
And you have to be prepared. When you have margin, Dave, it's hard to be by yourself. It is hard to be. I spent a few days out in the woods by myself this past week over Thanksgiving. Man, I got bored. I got uncomfortable. I had time to think thoughts I hadn't thought in a long time. I had time to write stuff down. I mean, it was uncomfortable, right? You got to practice being by yourself. But
yeah, I don't even have to practice that as much. I just need to practice not trying to solve all the problems in 20 minutes.
That's right.
Not trying to stack it so layered that there's just every ounce is squeezed out, because
one flat tire and the whole shebang goes out.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, there's too much wood on the truck. I mean, when I used to cut wood, soul firewood when I was in college, we fill that truck up and it'd be like, the front
right
tires are almost coming off the ground. The thing's just dragging on the tires, and we've completely filled it up. But I mean, you got the shocks are strained, the tires are strained, the engine is strained, the bed itself is strained, the cattle gates on the side holding the wood in were strained. Everything. One of those variables blows, the whole thing is going to look like a cartoon.
Instead of just making 2 trips.
Yeah.
Right? Just make 2 trips. I tell my little boy that all the time.
Well, and now I got to go to the car in a few minutes, and I should take 2 trips with all the crap I got to carry the car. Instead, I'm going to have to pile it all up. I'll be dropping stuff on the way to the car. It's the same thing.
Right.
It's the same thing. And my point of bringing this up is not him, not the caller, because he's not doing anything wrong. He's a sharp young guy.
Yeah.
And they're going to do fine. They'll be all right. But the point is that we can all take a lesson from that. People who become wealthy are always the tortoise. They're never the hare. They leave room for the plod along rather than the rush. We want this to get easy someday.
That's what it is.
This grown-up thing is going to get easy someday, and somebody else is going to do the work for us, and someone else is going to do the sacrifice for us, and we can be little children again. We all want that. I keep thinking this is going to get easy. Welcome to grown-up land, boys and girls.
It gets harder and harder. There's a great theologian named Rich Mullins who said the worst part about being a Christian is that it's every single day. And you could never memorize all the books of Abraham to where you never had to do anything else, right? And you
can't finish.
Right, and I've rattled that around in my head. That works for exercising. I can never have such a good workout on a Monday
that you don't have to do it again.
Then I'm done for the rest of the month, right?
That's it. Well, donuts. Yeah, I'm just gonna. I don't have to. I did this good workout on Monday, so I need a box of donuts every morning the rest of the week.
And I'll think about doing another one in December, right?
Yeah.
And it's the same with your money. It's the same with your marriage. You wake up every day and decide, I'm gonna love her, no matter what.
Yep.
In spite of myself.
Part of being a grown-up is nobody's going to do it for you.
And it's every day.
It's every day. Make your bed.
Wave to your neighbor every day.
Make your bed. Yeah, do your stuff, man.
Be kind every day.
And guess what? You being a troll on Twitter is not going to make your life better. No one has ever been convinced to vote politically or to become or to meet Jesus by someone being mean to them.
Never.
It's never happened. No one has ever yelled and cussed and screamed at me and convinced me to do anything.
That's right. Ever. Right?
In my whole stinking bald-headed life, it has never happened.
No.
And so stop it. Stop it. Be a grown-up. What happens at your house, which is what we teach you around here, we help you with you.
Right.
And you're the solution to your problem, and you're the problem to your problem, just like I am at my house and you are at your house, John. If you placed your hope on the wrong things, which will always cause your hope to dissipate. Because guess what? If you place your hope on that preacher, he's going to let you down.
100% of the time.
He's a man.
That's right.
He's going to screw up something. They'll say something you don't like someday. You place your hope on that boss. These people come to work here, they got stars in their eyes. They think Dave Ramsey's the second coming. It takes them about 20 seconds to figure out that's not right.
At some point, folks have to go look in the mirror and say, I've got to be responsible. Yes, there is hard stuff. Yes, there's a ton of things we got to do together.
But you can't control the DC thing.
Starts with me looking in the mirror and saying, I'm going to choose.
It's irrational exuberance and it's irrational depression. It really is irrational.
Right.
Because it means you place your hope on something that is not logical, that is not going to work. It's not going to work. It never has. This is not about the city. This is about you. If you were my daughter, here's what I would tell you. you need to stay separated from him until you establish yourself as a confident young woman in a career field. I think you're chasing a fantasy here that sounds very romantic and very different, and I think you're about to step in it. The bear trap's going to snap on your leg, kiddo. You need to establish your own independence as a sharp young lady, and then you'll be in a position to make better decisions about relationships. I'm a 60-year-old dad who has raised grown kids and has 6 grandkids. I support ministries on sex trafficking and slavery to end it all over the world. I just spoke to 2 young men here just in the lobby just a few minutes ago that was meeting with our family foundation that are from England, working on the same issues. It turns out not everyone is who they say they are. Shocking when you are sweet and young and naive. Moms and dads, not everybody's who they say they are. Now, not everyone immigrating from Russia is a bad person, and I'm certainly not saying that. I have, would have great admiration from someone wanting to leave communism and come to the greatest country in the world. But not everyone coming from Russia, attaching themselves as a boyfriend, meet me in L.A., we'll shack up together, is who they say they are. This I know.
You don't have to take the jump off the cliff. Chasing the dream is not as romantic as they make it out in the movies. It's not, whee, and we just hope it works out. No, I mean, it is a plotting, practical plan, and you take steps, and you got to earn it along the way. You don't just show up in L.A. and get the high glitz, high glamour marketing job. So there just wasn't any kind of a plan behind that.
Which scares me about every element of the plan. Moms and dads, if you got a 25-year-old living in your house, Meg Meeker, Dr. Meg Meeker, that's speaking at the SMART conference with Ken and I this weekend, would tell you it is your job to interfere in their life. Mm-hmm. Now, if they're on their own and they've established themselves, then, good boundaries are in order. And they're paying their own bills and you're not giving them any money. But if you're providing them shelter or money, then it is your obligation to continue to speak into their lives. And if they don't like that, then they can go provide their own shelter and their own money.
By the way, one of the ways that parents can do that, Dave, with adult children, because the dynamic has changed, is ask them some very straightforward, clear questions. And leave it to them, because if you make a statement, a 25-year-old kid, even a 14-year-old kid is going to push back a little bit. But if you ask a question, it puts the ball on them, and then they have skin in the game when you say, hey, things like, do you have any jobs lined up? Do you have any targets of companies that you would like to apply for?
She was working at Target.
Right. Yeah, that's right. Are they hiring? And let them sit with their own answers. Let them sit with the fact that they don't have an answer. At that point, once they begin and you get them to the place where they realize, ooh, I don't have a plan, this doesn't even make sense in my own head, then you got a chance to step in and go, hey, how can I help? How can I step in and help you make some decisions on this? What are some things that you can do? But if you ask some piercing questions and leave them, be okay not talking, mom and dad. Let them wrestle with it. You might find that that's a really great way to jump into that. But you got to be okay at some point going, I think this is a bad idea, but let me tell you why I think it's a bad idea.
If there's some
I think it can harm you.
If there's some red flags.
I think it could harm you.
To not call out red flags is not an act of love. It's an act of cowardice.
I agree.
And so you've got to call the red flags. You got to say, this is what it is. And it's your job then, if you love someone, to poke into it. Now, again, if they're a freestanding household, they're 32 years old, they got 2 kids, and they're a married couple, you don't have the right to just walk in there with your muddy boots. That's a boundary violation. But even then, you would treat them as a friend, and what would you do with your friend? What Ken said. What I would do with my friend is I'd start asking a bunch of questions that made them uncomfortable. That's what I do with one of my personal friends, if that happened. Versus walking in and saying, you're stupid.
As a parent, I don't ever want to get to a situation where my kid looks at me and says, why didn't you tell me, Dad?
Yeah.
Why didn't you tell me?
Yeah. Ever done anything really stupid with money? If you have, that makes you over 12. Almost all of us have. My wife Sharon and I started off with nothing when we first got married. Most people do, I think. So, 28 years old with a brand new baby, a toddler. and a marriage hanging on by a thread, we got the opportunity to start from zero again. Only I had to figure out how money works. Not what your broke brother-in-law's opinion is. How money really works. And so, as a Christian, I decided I would figure out what the Bible has to say about money. And I talked to old rich people. I didn't want to talk to young rich people. I'd been him. I didn't want his opinion. In business, we study successful people in a certain area, and then we emulate or copy what they're doing in order to have the same success they've had. It's called best practices. It's why you hire a personal trainer. They have abs and you have a keg. They know something you don't know. They do something you don't do. And so we learn from someone that knows something we don't know because they've actually done it, not have a theory about it. See, I don't really care what your theories are about money if you're broke. You're just arrogant and stupid. You live in your mother's basement and you write a money blog. Nobody cares what you think. Dave Ramsey doesn't understand the power of credit cards. Oh, my God. Really, after 30 years, you're still writing that stuff? You've got to be kidding me. So we learned how to handle money. And we learned that money really is fairly simple. It's just hard to do. There's only about 4 or 5 things you got to do to win. You have to live on less than you make. You need to live on a plan, a written budget. You need to get out of debt, because when you don't have any payments, you have money. Your most powerful wealth-building tool is your income. You've got to learn to save and invest. And you can't do that when you're in debt, don't have a plan, and don't live on less than you make. You know why people don't put money in their 401k and their Roth IRAs? Because they don't have any money, because it's all going out the door in stupid butt car payments, and Sally Mae's got her own bedroom at your house because she's lived there for so long. This is pretty simple stuff, guys. It may be primitive. It may be easy to understand, but it is very hard to do because it has everything to do with you changing your heart and the way you function and the way you live your life, and you live like no one else so that later you can live and give like no one else, because that's the last one. There's a high correlation in all of our data between people who win with money and those that are generous. Generosity is a key element in people who end up winning with money. And it's pretty simple. It's because generous people are attractive, selfish people aren't. They're ugly. Attractive people seem to get more opportunities in life. Would you agree? We all want to help someone who's attractive. I'm not talking about physically attractive, but they're likable. The person that holds the door for you versus the one that cusses you for doing it. The one that helps you pick up your groceries when they're rolling around the parking lot because the bottom fell out of your bag. That's a generous person. They might be a person who gives you some money because you're broke. You don't have money for food, or you're going through a hard time and they help you out. There's a high correlation between generosity and financial success. And it's not that financial success allows people to be generous. It's that generosity causes people to be people that are lovable, likable, more than selfish people. And they have a tendency to prosper. It's a pretty easy formula, really, if you think about it. And when you're out of debt, Dave Ramsey doesn't understand the power of credit cards. Yeah, I do. I've watched the power of credit cards destroy people's lives for years. I absolutely understand the power of a credit card. And I've watched stupid people write clickbait articles about me and other people saying how to use a credit card, the proper way to use a credit card, and credit cards are good for reward points. Yeah, I've never met a millionaire that said, Dave, I made all my money with airline miles. Dave, those Discover points put me over the top. That was my breakthrough financial moment. Never met a single millionaire, and I've met with thousands of millionaires. Never met one that said that. They all say, I can't believe people fall for credit card debt. I can't believe people continue to use these stupid credit cards. It's like half the population is dying of lung cancer, and everybody's standing around going, well, I guess cigarettes kill you. Well, no kidding. Unbelievable. The credit card is the cigarette of the financial world. It used to be cool. Everybody thought it was neat, and people are catching on that it ain't a good idea. Hello. This is not rocket science, people. Live on less than you make. Becky's on Twitter. Do you literally mean beans and rice, or is that an exaggeration to make a point? Becky, you've got to be kidding me. Do you really think people doing this plan only live on beans and rice? I mean, really? Twits on Twitter. Really? Of course not. It means lower your stupid butt lifestyle and quit spending money like you're in Congress is what it means. It means quit going out to eat. You're broke. It means quit buying the most expensive thing at Whole Paycheck over there and get your dadgum coupons out and have a meal plan and actually cook from scratch because it saves money. And don't go on vacation. You're broke. And don't buy that. You're broke. You have clothes in your closet. Stay out of the mall. Live on less than you make. That's what it means. You have to live on less than you make in order to pay off debt, in order to save and invest. You can't spend more than you make and end up anywhere but in bankruptcy court. And people are doing it every day, everywhere. See, this stuff we teach here, folks, is not hard to understand. It's very hard to actually go and do it.